So explain the strategy in this fight, because I mean, it really, at moments, as a casual fan, you're watching, you're like, man, Robbie's taking a beating.
Well, he did take a beating. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He took some hard hits, but the strategy was to take him down, and a good way to take somebody down is make them come to you. So we were trying to get Melvin to step towards us, and in that process, we would have an easier time shooting and taking him down. Melvin, every time he stepped to us and got in that range where Robbie felt comfortable to take down, Melvin was throwing or punching, so Robbie was in defense mode. Melvin had a good game plan. His tendencies cost him the fight because Robbie had watched every time Melvin finishes somebody with punches, he drops his hands.
Drop the left hand.
So, I mean, Robbie knew that head was going to be open when Melvin was sitting there punching. And as you know, he's got bricks in both hands. If he hits somebody, they're going to be hurt.
So as you're watching, though, where you're like, okay, something's got to happen here, because I mean that lead leg was getting bad.
It was getting real bad, and yeah, I kept telling Robbie, you know, at the last 30 seconds of the fight, I said, Robbie, you got to make an attempt to take him down. Yeah. I mean, you haven't made a real full attempt yet. Make an attempt to take him down, because I knew Robbie couldn't take those kicks. I mean, it was bad. Robbie could have done some things. You know, every time he threw a kick, Robbie should have struck back and make him weary, you know. Hey, every time I lift my leg to throw a kick, I get punched, you know, make him weary to even throw those kicks. But he kept trying to bait him,
Yeah. How do you feel about Robbie going forward with Strikeforce? Because, you know, clearly I saw your comments a little while ago that, you know, maybe you're hearing some things about Strikeforce and Showtime struggling a bit. From a fighter standpoint, it is tough when, you know, you're not guaranteed maybe 3 or 4 fights a year. I mean, the inactivity can start to really wear on you.
Well, I think Strikeforce might make a little bit of money, you know, so I don't think they're financially going to go away. There's just some differences on how the fighters are treated. I mean, when we walked in the hotel, there were a couple people from Strikeforce in the hotel in the lobby, and by gosh, I don't fight for Strikeforce, so don't worry about me. But you would have thought they would have stood up and shook Robbie's hand, and nobody did. I mean, they acknowledged it. I think they nodded their head or something. But it's little things like that where you just don't feel at home. You know, the UFC wouldn't do that, and I compare them to the UFC because that's the best organization that I know.
Right.
So it's the small things. You know, there's still 2 guys back in the locker room right now, and it's been 3 hours since they fought, and they're still waiting for somebody to come stitch them up. You know, Huron and Riggs are still waiting to be stitched. So it's the little things that are going to drive fighters away.